Oh,
I got
awesome.
it.
Welcome to the Jerri Berry's Friend-Tastic Library, the podcast where I interview everyday average people about their fantastic lives. And today we're talking to Claire. Claire is a laughter yoga instructor, right? Is that what you put on the form? Laughter yoga instructor?
Sure. Yeah. Official leader, teacher, instructor, laugh, anyway.
Yeah, and you're like one of the best people I've ever met. I miss you so very much. So we always talk about how we met first, because I really love how humans connect. And we met at you're another glowing goddess. We met at the GGG. And when was your first glowing goddess? Because I'm sure it was before mine.
It was a long time ago, and it was really wonderful because I was taken on with a group of cousins, some really awesome, badass ladies that grew up in Oakland, and they said, I think this is what you need to be a part of. And I just kind of was in with the group. And then we ended up at the yurt, and we were the yurt crew, and we just had a great time.
Yeah, I loved the yurt.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite things. I went to my very first GGG was 2018 in Pescadero, and I stayed in the yurt, and it was just so lovely. The yurt was amazing. I miss Pescadero, but that would have been the first time I met you, was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think so.
I remember laughter yoga being like the funnest thing ever. And I had never heard of any of it before. I never heard of anything that we did at the GGG before. I had never meditated. I maybe dabbled in yoga, but that was it. I'd never done a sound bath. I barely smoked weed whenever I went to the GGG. But one of my clearest memories of you, because we smoke a lot, and it was the highest I'd ever been. So some of it's foggy. But one of the clearest memories I have of you is we're sitting in the hot tub at the GGG, and there's other women. I mean, the whole hot tub's full of women. And you told us a joke that was in made up words. And it was it was still so funny, because you were telling us that humans can tell whenever you're supposed to laugh and stuff. And it was amazing to me. And how funny it was. It was amazing to me how funny it was without literally any words. I don't know if the weed helped, but I feel like it was probably one of the best jokes I've ever heard, and I can't repeat it because it was made up words.
Right. I can tell you another one. I have a million of them.
Yeah.
It really is a decision to laugh.
Yeah, you can tell as many jokes as you want here, because I love them all.
Well, you just decide, okay, I'm going to tell you a joke that makes no sense, but you're going to laugh anyway. Okay. And so here it goes. Asia was zip. And, so it's really funny.
You should have a TikTok of nothing but this. This is amazing.
Well, that's good. You're the TikTok queen. Jerri, I'm loving the saga of how you met Mr. Berry, and I'm just following that in anticipation. It's really great, and hopefully, it'll inspire me to do a few more TikToks.
I did that on a whim, and I did not think it would be as popular as it is. And I thank you so very much for saying that. I've had so many people say I don't want it to end, but I know it has to, and it's very close to the end. So yeah, if the listeners want to learn the very short version of how I met my husband, I tell it in 14 minutes. So that's 14 TikTok videos. But we're only on 10 right now. I'll have to post it.
I was only expecting it to go 2 or 3 because it was and now it's so much, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I don't know how to condense it even more. I could have gone on longer, but I was I don't want to go into detail with every single person I've ever slept with before I got to my husband.
I mean, kissing frogs that you kiss.
To condense some of it. But I have a couple friends that are I don't want it to end, but it has to end because I want to hear the ending, but I'm not ready for it yet. It's a whole thing. But I hated TikTok for a really long time. And then I got on it, and I do pretty well on there. So my husband is jealous, because he's all you did was shit talk it, and now you get pretty decent views.
That's the way it works sometimes.
Yeah. But anyways, less about me, more about laughter yoga. I feel like nobody knows what laughter yoga is. So I
do too when I go out in the world.
So can you like describe what laughter yoga is to the people?
The laughter yoga is a form of movement. It was founded by a doctor in India and his wife, a yoga teacher,
Okay.
Laughter Yoga International, back in 1995. And Dr. Kataria was writing an article, Laughter is the Best Medicine. And he thought, what if we laughed as a form of exercise? And typically in India, what people do is they walk around the park. They do walking, which walking, according to Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, is man's best medicine. So that's great. But what about laughter? And so Dr. Kataria convinced 5 people in this park back in 1995 to laugh as a form of exercise or movement. And now it's all over the world, including my little Zoom laughter club I do on Wednesdays. I used to go to my community center, but the times changed that. And now my laughter club has expanded beyond San Jose and beyond my community center because it's on Zoom every week. I have people
I'm so sad that I miss it because I have a normal 9-to-5 job. But it is wonderful that you've been able to expand, because I guess that's like a silver lining of the times that we live in. But
and the time is I chose that time 16 years ago because I thought, oh, when is my laughter club going to meet? And so I started the laughter club, and we've met every Wednesday. I try to expand it beyond that, but it hasn't stuck. But I've stuck to that half hour every Wednesday for 16 years, and that's what I do. And then, limited engagements from time to time. I laugh, not only then.
Yeah. But I think it's amazing, and it made sense to me because laughing works your core. Like that's what you hear all the time. You're like, oh, I laugh so hard my sides hurt. So it would make sense that it's an amazing, I mean, not just for your brain and your emotional status, but for physically, it makes total sense to me. And sometimes you can get like full body movements laughing if you're like knee slapping and like all that stuff. But
your body doesn't know the difference whether your brain is saying I'm laughing on purpose because I know it's good for my health and I just want to do it, versus reacting to something.
Really? That's so cool.
So your body doesn't know the difference. And also there's a professor, this Robert Provine, he went out and he did studies on laughter, and he observed people laughing in public places, wherever, and found that only 18% of the laughter comes from jokes. The other 82% is from play or laughing sounds, but it's only 18% come from jokes. So you're relying on only an 18% chance.
Yeah.
When you are, why leave laughter to chance?
I'm a huge nervous laughter, like huge nervous, and I'll talk about sad things and then end up laughing because it's like a tick, I guess you would call it. I don't know.
Or a release. Maybe your body knows intuitively, I need to get rid of this.
It is a good energy releaser for sure. But yeah, like anytime I'm discussing bad things with like my work, I'm like, oh yeah, I need off because my mother-in-law had to go to the hospital again because like her blood isn't working right, and then I'll end up giggling, and then I feel like they think I'm a psychopath because I'm like trying to laugh because I'm nervous. It's a whole thing.
Well, Abraham Lincoln has a quote that the stress on him. He was president during the Civil War and ended up being shot, but the stress on him was so great day and night. He said that if he didn't laugh, he'd surely die. So apparently he was a nervous laugher too. According to that quote, that's what I'm gleaning from it.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, there you go. You have things in common. Being a great American.
I know that he's a popular one to like, but I do like him. He's a good cliche to like. One of my favorite things about laughter yoga that I still use to this day because it pops in my head constantly is the very good yay. That's like my favorite movement ever. It instantly makes me happy in the morning. So.
It's a wonderful celebration. We don't hear it enough. Sometimes it turns people off to laughter yoga because they think, oh, it's a kindergarten thing. They don't want to be seen as that type of vulnerability. But I really feel it's a celebration, and it's never too late to have a happy childhood. And why not all celebrate very good, yay? They do that everywhere all over the world. And Espanol, muy bien, órale.
Yeah.
In Japan, yatta, yatta, yay. So you have all over the world, very good, yay. It's a wonderful thing to celebrate. And the history of that was in the Laughter Club, someone was so jazzed that because they started doing this in the park and really hundreds of people started showing up in the morning. And one dude was so jazzed, he was all very good, very good, just really into it. And so it caught on as a very good, yay.
That's awesome. I love that story. It's yeah, like literally if I feel like as a pro tip, if you see this and you're like, I'm never gonna do that, I'm so embarrassed, just like do it in your car on your way to work, especially if you don't like your job. I feel like I like my job now, but as a college student, there would be mornings where I didn't want to go to school and I would like literally be driving in my car and I would just be like, very good, yay. And it like instantly makes your whole day better. For some reason, you like trick your brain into being happy. You don't need anything to celebrate. Just say that.
Right. It's like a faith it till you make it situation.
Yeah.
You have to, motion creates emotion. You start modeling these behaviors, these things that helps.
Yeah.
And it's better than crying driving to work. I spent years driving to work, crying, shaking at my desk.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was what I needed to do until I found a different path and my career actually exploded. So
yeah, I'm a big crier on the way home, but I'm not always sad. Like I'm not sad at work. It's like an energy release, but then I found Noemi. So now I tap a lot on my way home from work to work through all the emotion and energy. Cause even if you enjoy your job, you can't really show emotion at your desk at work. So no matter what, like if I watch Queer Eye and it's really emotional, I can't cry because I'm sitting at my desk and I look like a crazy person. So then I just cry about it on the way home. But now I can like tap about it at my desk or on my way home. But yeah, the very good yay really is like a morning starter for me. I really love that. And I hear it in my head even if I don't physically say it because it's like my favorite thing ever. So you mentioned corporate and now and crying to work and now then you did laughter. So when did you start laughter yoga or when did you start this path, I guess?
Well, I started the path. I had a job that they gave me. They made the mistake, I guess, of giving me too many benefits, and one of the benefits was a gym membership, or not enough benefits, and that was and so I went to the gym, and I was intimidated by all the other classes, but I always liked the pool, and I took water classes, and I was in the pool and I really got jazzed there. I ran faster than anybody else in the pool and jumped higher. And I ended up, taking over the classes because the lady that was teaching it had 5 children and I was subbing all the time because with 5 children, everything comes up.
Uh-huh.
And plus she knew she had me. So she's like, good. And then my career as a fitness instructor, water happened.
That's
and
awesome.
Going into that, I started taking yoga classes in the studio. And because I was an instructor at the club, they wanted me to instruct yoga class. So then I went for training to become, a yoga instructor and to learn to facilitate these yoga experiences. So I did that. And then I was down visiting my in-laws. They live in Orange County. My father-in-law was a corporate controller, CFO, and very conservative. And all of a sudden, I get hit with the paper. He tosses the paper at me and says, "You do yoga, check this out." And it's an article on Jeffrey Breyer and the Laguna Beach Laughter Club and Laughter Yoga. And they're having a training next week. And I look at this and I go, this is up my alley. This is what I need to do. I was in these yoga classes and people were doing competitive yoga. They were trying to be more bendy wendy than their neighbor. And also it was like, this is my spot. And from what I had studied, yoga is more of the pranayama, the journey to the post, your own journey, peaceful. And this wasn't happening. So I thought this is the direction I need to turn. I love to crack jokes. I love to laugh. I'm doing this. And the next weekend, drove from the Bay Area down to Southern California to take the training. And that was December of 2005.
Wow.
And
So like 17 years?
yeah, right. Well, 2006 January, I started the San Jose Laughter Club, where
Oh,
I
that's
do my
awesome.
laughter club, and that's how the journey began.
I love that. I feel everything you're saying about regular yoga. I've done regular yoga many times with different things, like whether it was a college class or a YouTube class, or even at the GGG they have more traditional yoga sometimes.
Mhm.
And I never get into it, and then I feel like I'm not a good person or something because I can't, and it's supposed to be the most peaceful aligning thing in the world, and I'm like, oh, this is so boring, and my feet hurt from standing in these weird poses, and like I don't have good enough balance, and I know that I'll get better if I keep doing it, but I don't want to keep doing it. But laughter yoga I think is way funner, and I whenever I see like laughter yoga on the pamphlet or on the website for GGG, I envision just doing like the sunrise poses of yoga, but like laughing through it or something on the exhales, because you're supposed to align your breathing and whatnot with yoga poses. And it's definitely not that. And I love it.
Well, we have salutation to the sun. That's sun salutation,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is you lean back and you go down and you're in a plank and then your foot comes forward, then your other foot comes forward, and you have to be in a certain physical condition to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So they call it sun salutation, or salutation to the sun. In laughter yoga, we have salutation to the fun, which is
Oh,
much better.
I love that.
Salutation to the fun. It's easy. You just put your palms up, up like towards the sky. Put one hand on top of the other, and you breathe in and you grow your smile as your hands come up. And then when your hands go down, you laugh.
That's way better.
Yeah, but that's more my speed, right?
I want to do
We
that
all
every
have a
morning.
choice. Yeah. Salutation to the fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally not judging anybody that loves yoga. Like, do it for sure. Whatever feeds
I
your
love
soul.
yoga.
But
Yeah. But it's, it's a different form. This is laughter yoga is hasya yoga. You have kundalini yoga, all the different, you have the people who love to be in hot rooms. I'm not a hot room person. Like I want to be in the pool. I want to be cooled off. Hot rooms make me nervous, and more power to the people who are strong enough to do that, and it works for them.
yeah.
Maybe I'll try it again. I always try things again, and maybe it works.
Same.
Because we're different. Every day we change,
Yeah.
especially as women.
The other one too that I keep trying at GGG's, well, whenever we did official GGG events, was belly dancing. I would always try it and then be like, nope, I don't want to do this, and then I leave. But I always want to. Like I would see them and I would be like, I want to be them, and then I'd go down and try, and I'd be like, nah, I can't do this. I don't want to do it.
I want to wear the costumes.
Yeah.
Costumes are fun.
Oh my gosh, my computer is all dingy right now. No, don't restart right now. It always wants to restart and do updates at the worst time. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, I love all the jingly belts that they wear, and the outfits are super cute, but I just like, yeah, it's one of the things that I can't get into. But yeah, I remember the last time I saw you was the Windsor getaway in 2019, and I've missed you ever since. I was just telling Deidre whenever I was at her house that I miss seeing you. So but yeah, that one was really fun in Windsor, because I remember getting up and it was maybe 6 a.m. It was probably earlier than that, but it was maybe 6 a.m. because the sun was like barely coming up. And there were a bunch of goddesses sitting by the hot tub in the pool, like in their sweatpants, and they were all doing the very good yay. And it was like the best alarm to wake up to in the whole world. And they were all sharing like skincare products.
So fun, all the girly stuff that happens.
So I woke up to that and I was like, I have to go out there and find out what's going on, because that's the best sound ever. But I think that was the first time that I had heard that so early from like a whole group of people. And it made me very happy that was like an imprint on them.
Me too. I had that memory too. I mean, I was in my own tent, and I remember hearing that, and I thought, wow, I think I made an effect. I think I always wonder if my work, carries or what happens. And I thought, this is confirmation. Look at that. Like, it was such a beautiful way to wake up. And And the fact that they weren't doing it because they were trying to be nice to me, they were doing it because it was bringing them joy.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just doing their skincare and just being like, very good, yay.
Yay. Celebrating the moment. That's what it's about, celebrating your moment. Celebrating, because the bad stuff's gonna hit you, bite you in the bottom, but the good stuff you want to celebrate.
For sure. Can other people become laughter yoga instructor? I mean, I'm assuming they can, but
Oh, yeah.
how do people become laughter yoga instructors or teachers? Or
Well, they can be trained by me. Like, I'm a certified laughter yoga teacher, so
Ooh.
I can certify laughter yoga leaders. It's a 2-day training of 8 hours each, or a 4-day training of 4 hours each.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's a 16-hour training basically to become a laughter yoga leader and be able to facilitate laughter clubs or laughter experiences. And then there's the next level of training where you need to be trained by a master trainer, and that's the laughter yoga teacher. And then you can train other leaders. And I think they have the master trainers that, yeah, I think I just said that. It used to be just that Dr. Kataria would do it, but this movement got so big across the world that he needed to have master trainers to train people to be laughter yoga teachers, because his goal is to have, I think, 1 million leaders by a certain point.
Oh, wow.
He's already done some world record stuff of the largest laughter session and a few things, but they're working on a lot of things in laughter yoga. I think they're even working on a laughter ashram in India, if you can imagine that.
That's amazing.
I mean, to me, it's just you gotta laugh. Like, life is hard, and really your only control is how you control yourself and how you react to outside stimuli. And if you train your laughter muscle to where you're going to laugh at things, like Jerri, you're already good at that, like you laugh at stressful situations, but some people take the stress and put it into their stomachs or their heads, or they keep that inside their body and don't release that, and then illnesses occur. Things happen. If you're so stressed out and your stomach is hurting all of the time, are you putting all your pain into your stomach? Are you what is happening, or are you releasing it? And you have to choose how you want to do it. We have what's called the ha ha mantra, because sometimes you don't feel like laughing, so you're mad, and I'm not going to laugh when I'm mad, maybe, so I'm going to punch down, and I'm going to be like, ha 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 ha, and just kind of punch your way through that, and then you feel ridiculous, and then you're laughing.
Yeah, then you start laughing. Yeah. I remember, I don't know if I just grew up around weird people or if other people have played this game, but we had the Ha game as kids, specifically girls in like 5th grade that did sleepovers, where if this is like one girl's belly, this would be like my head laying like directly on her belly. And then we just keep connecting like that, but head has to be touching belly. And then you literally just say ha. But whenever you say ha, your belly lifts up. So then the head of like the next person lifts up. And whoever actually starts laughing loses, and they have to get out of the chain. And then you just keep going. And
I love it.
I had like that intrusive thought the second you said like the ha punching, because that's how it always starts. We're just like ha, ha. And the angrier you do it, the more your belly will jump so that the next person's head will jump, because you want to try to get them to actually laugh. And it's probably one of the best games. So if I'm just a weirdo and no one else has ever heard of that, 10 out of 10 recommend that game. Totally
done it. Totally did it at slumber parties. And they do it at laughter yoga retreats. I think they call it something else because, it's a little more elevated.
Yeah.
It's a slumber party game, but it's the same thing. And I love that. I think that's so much fun.
Yeah,
we haven't done things like that in a couple of years.
I know.
Maybe with your own families, but we haven't gathered. So I'm looking forward to these things may be coming back, right? We'll be able to. Yeah, we'll have an in-person GGG, and we can get that. I'm sure that'll be going on.
I know. I can't wait.
With a mask on, I'm good. I think that might be a fun thing to do. So.
Oh yeah, you can laugh with the mask on for sure.
Oh yeah, I've been doing that. Like I went in to do, a talk at a senior facility, and it's laughter with all masks.
I love that. I think I missed one of your recent ones, but Lauren was telling me that you did a whole story about mermaids or going underwater or something. Because I guess for those that don't know, your laughter yoga sessions are always like a story that you are telling. And while you're telling the story, we are doing movement and we're laughing. So like one of the ones that I always remember is we were folding our sheets and we had to fold our sheets and then we had to like shake them out. But she was saying that you did a really cool one with mermaids and I was instantly jealous that I missed it. I think it was for like the virtual one recently. I can't remember.
It could have been. Yeah. What I usually try to do is Milton Berle or Uncle Milty. I don't know. He was a comedian like back in the last century. But Uncle Milty has a quote that would say, "Laughter is an instant vacation." And so usually within my laughter sessions, my laughter club I do every week, we go somewhere. And sometimes we'll swim to Hawaii and we'll get in the water and we'll swim and, catch a ride on a dolphin and go to the Dolphin Comedy Club or, be with the mermaids. It's all imagination. It's play. We don't get a chance to play so much as adults. We're adulting all the time.
I know.
And escaping from things, but actual play and actual fun. How many people know how to have a good time anymore without structure or something? So just playing is fun. So we can be laughing mermaids and things. Sometimes the things come to me, these scenarios come to me on the fly. I don't write them down. I'm not as meticulous as a lot of other instructors, but I have that form, and you can laugh as a mermaid laugh, and you can laugh as a mermaid calling to the guys.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was like, do you like just write every day and come up with stories? But you said you don't do that. So you just like let your mind travel and you just like say the things that come up?
It's really been an adventure, Jerri, of like doing things that didn't work and then figuring out things that did work.
You're like, okay, so they don't like the dolphin nightclub that we go to. So instead, we're going to go to the Mermaid Rock. That's really cool.
If I'm with Glimmering Swimmers, we're doing mermaid stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm dressing up in a Care Bear costume. That's what's happening over there. So, if I'm going to a corporate thing, if I'm going to Abbott Laboratories, I'm wearing a business suit and I'm talking to them about, I'm basically quoting peer-reviewed studies because that's what they want. But it's just a matter of whatever gets you to laugh and whatever gets you there.
That's awesome. I was thinking while you were talking about people not knowing how to have fun. And I think for most people that are like, whenever I was younger, the only way to have fun was to go out and drink a lot. But I think now, since I was in college later in life and all of my peers were a lot younger than me, they seem to not want that alcohol life anymore, at least where I live, because I live on like the Central Coast. And I went to CSUMB, which is like well known for not being a drinking town and very much a weed friendly town. And so a lot of them were looking for different like elevated ways to have fun. And I think like this is like a whole industry that just should like blow up and be everywhere so that everybody can go do it. Because that would be like the best date night to me. If somebody was like, oh, let's go on a date, I'll meet you at like the Laughter Yoga Studio. I'd be like, yes, marry me today.
Very good, very good. Yay. Hey,
Yeah.
people are doing goat yoga. If they do goat yoga and let goats run all over them,
Yeah.
Try laughing.
Yeah.
It's just we're just gonna be laughing in a group of people, non-judgmental laughter.
Oh my gosh, I know a person that owns goats. I should totally tell him about goat yoga. I forgot that was a thing. He could be making so much money right now.
I saw reservations sold out at the height. They put these things on social media or whatever, and I was like curious, and it was at least $40 for experience. Like a goat, yeah, and goats don't necessarily have toileting. They don't go. They go whenever they go. And so for me, I don't know if that would be. I remember petting zoo experiences. Like I could go to we could do like low key, like real cheap on the fly goat yoga at the petting zoo till we get kicked out and save ourselves.
I'm just thinking like he was just telling me how expensive it is to care for a farm and how much work. And I'm like, oh, that could
It
totally
is.
be like a good fundraiser, because the baby goats are so freaking cute. And I think that's usually what happens
That's
at,
what they
at
use.
goat
Baby
yoga.
goats.
Yeah, because big goats can get aggressive or they'll fall over because they're scared or whatever. But he had baby goats that were literally 2 days old, like not, and there's like this big, but it's like a mini goat. They're fully sentient, making their own decisions, running around at 2 days old. So like that blew my mind, because babies are like helpless for months on end, and the baby goats just pop out and start like dancing and like ah! And so that would be amazing. I need to tell him about this idea, because I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
goat yoga would also include a lot of laughter. I would laugh a lot if I was doing yoga with goats.
Of course.
we
I
could
think that's
do
part of the appeal.
we could do
And
laughter
I think
yoga with goats, like not actual yoga. We'll do laughter
well,
yoga with goats.
hey, I'm down. Let me know. I can travel for the right funds. You know, with the right accommodations and the right funds, I can go almost anywhere. But the thing is for farming, farmers are amazing. It's really, it's hard work. Everybody loves I don't know, a lot of people like the farm. I think farm is popular. People like baby animals and they like fresh
Yeah.
vegetables. They like the outside. The hard part is the work that every day goes into it. And the money that, you don't, if you live in the city, you see where your money goes, to a car or to like fancy clothes or, however, but in a farm, you don't really see where the money goes a lot. It's because you're
No.
feeding animals, you're doing stuff. So, and trying to get that money together. And the thing is people like the farm experience without having to do the hard farm work. So
Yeah.
if you think about
Yeah.
that, and he has space and wants to allow people on there to have like some boutique ranch, dude ranch experience, like he has opportunity
For sure.
to but that's his dreams, right? I do
Yeah.
laughter yoga. I don't do the farm.
Yeah, no, I can't. I could never run a farm. I could, like you said, I can go and enjoy it and like look at those cute little 2 day old baby goats. But yeah, I could never do all that work. It's just so much that goes into it.
Need
Um,
some shade, a lemonade, and like a snack nearby.
yeah,
Like someplace to sit down, not
yeah,
hard work in the mud with animals needing your help.
yeah, exactly. Like,
Pulling a
because
row.
because like I'm seeing the product of the brand new baby goats, but he like literally had to like go out to the field and like find them, because the mother just gave birth and was like, bye, I got grass to eat.
Right.
And now he has these babies, and now you instantly have to care for like a literal baby. They have to
Yeah.
eat just as often as a regular baby, and like sometimes you have to help them birth, and then you have to like, I just imagine all the poop, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm already getting stressed. I can't even imagine.
It's not like it's 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It's 24/7.
I cannot. But yeah, farmers are the real MVPs for sure. But yeah, I am so glad you came on the show, because this is probably one of the most the maybe one I can't remember laughing more than this one, but it's so easy.
Oh,
So you always I feel like, I don't know if you always do this, but the two GGGs that I saw you at, you always tell this story about how 420 started, and I'm always too high to remember it. Can you share the story? It's like something about a guy that decides that 420 is the time to smoke weed or something like that. I don't even
well,
know if you remember
there's
telling
so
this.
much, you could go to High Times, archives and different things. There's stories about the people, and there's a lot of conflicting stories because it's happened. But the story that I know and I'm familiar with is it was after school, and it's just like every time these people were getting high, it was always 420. It just happened to be by the time they got home from school, by the time they did, I don't know if they did homework, but like did whatever they do after school, have their snack or get together or get out their stash, roll it up. Every time they looked at the clock, it was 420. That
That's
was just the
funny.
time. And that's what I know. Like,
That's amazing. Because I've always wondered that too. I'm like, why is 420 the time? It's a good time, but like, why isn't the time? And
dang.
I always remember hearing you say a story, but I was too high to remember it.
All right. If I remember it, I can tell you again. I'm really good with like repetition. I'm like, I always say like, ask me my name again because I know the answer to that question. It makes me feel really smart. So People ask me lots of other questions I don't know the answer to, but usually I can answer my name. So feel no intimidation about asking my name 5 times because I just get better at my answer each time.
I love that.
Groundhog Day.
I love
Cool.
that. Yeah, my favorite line is like, you can call me whatever you want, just don't call me late for supper. And some people don't
Yeah.
get it. They're like, I don't what?
Oh, that's an oldie joke because like I think that was my great grandfather's like joke.
That's
Don't
like my
call me late for dinner.
yeah. Yeah, that's always my favorite because people I have like a traditional male name, and so people tend to not remember it because they're like, that can't be it, that's not her name. And I'm like, no, it is, it's okay, but you can call me whatever you want, just don't call me late for supper. And they don't get it. Another favorite of mine is like, my favorite food is free food. I say that a lot, and a lot of people also, they don't like catch on to that. They're like, wait, what? Like, you're like, not pizza or like cheeseburger? And I'm like, no, free food is my favorite food.
That's so great. That was my mom's answer. Like when we were kids, we'd be like, Mom, what's for dinner? And she'd say food. And we'd be like, what kind of food, Mom? And she says, good food, of course.
Yeah, the
Good
kind
food.
you eat. My dad would say that, the kind you eat.
Come on. You
Just
made it so far, kids. Don't worry.
just yesterday, one of the farm guy, his daughters were like, I'm hungry. And then my son goes, I'm Jared, nice to meet you. And like, they had never heard that before, but that's all that happens in our house.
That's
So they
great.
thought it was like the funniest thing. But yeah, I couldn't believe that he did that so quickly. I was like, oh, I've taught him well. I've taught him well.
It's so great when the kids like start taking over and doing certain things because they like come out of your body and they're pretty helpless, like you were saying, the baby coats, you gotta do all the stuff.
Yeah.
And then and they're messy, and then eventually like they learn to go to the bathroom by themselves and dress themselves and cook for themselves. I got one that's driving now. It's a trip. And
Oh
when
my
you
gosh.
see them, like when I see that like my oldest is well versed in like 80s music, I love it. Like he has a good like
Oh my gosh. I think about that all the time because I have satellite radio in my van, and they have stations that are called like the 80s, 90s. They have
Mhm.
like the 2000 to 2010, and they have 2010 to 2020, and then they have the pop hits. And I'm thinking to myself, like, my kid is going to think all of the 2000s music that I listened to in high school is like really old. Like I would
Mhm.
think like the 70s is.
Right.
I'm like, and one of the songs I was listening to, he was talking about his iPod in the song. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is already outdated because we don't have iPods anymore.
Yeah. Walkmans, like we're a big deal. And yeah, all of
Yeah.
the different things that we would do, mixtapes. I
Yeah.
would call the radio station and like wait for the song to play the song. Please don't talk over it, and try to tape it on my tape. But it's just different things
Constantly
change.
thinking like, what is Lady Gaga's timeless song gonna be, right? Because like even Queen has a few timeless ones that like everybody knows, like We Will Rock
Right.
You, or like the Bohemian Rhapsody always makes a comeback. And I'm sitting here thinking like, what is Lady Gaga and like Taylor Swift's timeless classics gonna be? They're still playing on the radio like 30 years from now.
Well, hey, Madonna's still out at it. She's patching herself up and going out there.
I know.
I saw a thing last night on Instagram with her and her son David Banda. He's playing the piano and they're singing I think Beatles song. No, they were singing an Elton John song. They were singing for Ukraine. Really
Elton
beautiful,
John.
actually.
Elton John's
It
doing
was
his
your
farewell
song.
tour.
Well, it was Madonna and her oldest adopted son, David Banda, and they're at the piano and they're singing your song.
That's my favorite.
Or
It's such a good song.
yeah, look it up. It's on Madonna's Instagram. It's kind of cool.
I never
It's
thought of
pretty
Madonna
artsy
having
too.
an Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't either, and then I came across it, and like her and Snoop Dogg. I'm following Snoop Dogg.
I follow Snoop Dogg.
He puts up crazy stuff, and
Yeah.
and he's my generation. Like
Yeah. Sometimes his stuff is, I'm like, oh, but most of it's pretty funny. And I really like to see how much weed he's smoking throughout the day. Because sometimes he'll
I love
post
it.
all the ends of the blunts that he's had for like breakfast. That's usually one of my favorite ones.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to look up Madonna's thing now. But Elton John's doing his farewell tour. He's like not gonna come to most of the world anymore.
Well, he's a little older.
I know.
Like
He did a lot of
listening
drugs.
to I was listening to an interview with Billie Eilish, and she talked about going to dinner with Elton John, and in the story you can kind of tell he has a few years, like his hearing isn't all of that, and he has someone he calls for a bumble, and they come and he has people that are like helping him out.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it's not it's not the 70s anymore. It's the 2020s. It's so different.
I
Like
know, it's crazy. And he has kids now
yeah,
too, doesn't he? I think they had kids.
I I believe
I
so.
think so.
Um,
What a time to be alive. Yeah. But
mhm.
I'm super glad you came on the show. I don't want to keep you forever and ever. I try not to talk too
Well,
much
you
because
don't.
listeners
You
are
want to
so
keep me forever and ever. Take me home with you. Oh, you can just press the button. Here, Claire's in the corner, like, very good, very good. Yay. All right. Now she goes back on the shelf.
just a bit. We
So I'm
should
going to
sell
keep you
like
forever.
we should sell little laughter yoga Claire like action figures.
One laughter leader, he started getting Tickle Me Elmos
Oh my
back in
gosh.
the, and because people around the world, maybe they know Sesame Street, but maybe they don't, laughter leaders. So he would just pick them up at like the secondhand stores and clean them up and send them to other laughter leaders like in random places in the world.
That's amazing. Tickle Me Elmo is such a classic. I feel like every kid since like when did Sesame Street start? The 80s? I think
The 60s or the 70s. It was Sesame Street started way back when.
damn. I remember like before I was even born, my grandma had like a Tickle Me Elmo, and I was born in the 90s. So I don't know when Tickle Me Elmo started, but it's been a thing for like a really long time. That's amazing. And like
Mm-hmm.
Jared had a Tickle Me Elmo, but now they get fancy. Have you seen the new Tickle Me Elmos where he'll like stand up or he'll
Wow.
sit and think? And like some of them do some crazy things now. But yeah, Tickle Me Elmo. That's a good one. I should get one of those now. My baby's probably due for a Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Be good. Bring some laughter. But
Yeah.
babies teach us how to laugh. You should know that. Like you've probably noticed, like kids and babies are masters at laughter. They
Oh
really,
yeah.
they're the ones.
Yeah. That's like the first thing they learn is like laughing and pooping. So
Yeah. Well, they probably feel good. Like they get all that. They have pressure in their tummies. They get it
yeah.
out. Ah!
Yeah. And like that, yeah, that's what they do. They're like, I ate, I pooped, I laughed, I'm good today. I'm tired. Put me down
And
for a nap.
farts are still funny. I mean,
Yeah.
farts are just eternally funny.
Oh yes, I agree. Farts are always funny in our house. Always, always, always.
So taboo, but yet funny.
Yeah, I think at home it's a safe space. I think yeah, that's what we usually tell my son. We're like, at home it's a safe space. At school, it's probably not going to be funny.
That's how you know you're close.
But yeah, and poop jokes, especially with boys, just remain funny forever. Like my husband still finds poop jokes funny that my son says. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of gross, but okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think farts are forever funny.
That's
It's just nature's way to make people laugh for sure.
good. They had an offshoot of the Laguna Laughter Club, and they did. It was called the Inappropriate Laughter Club, and they did laughter exercises that were along those lines.
That's funny.
I don't want to keep you forever, and I appreciate your time and giving me audience and
Yeah, I'm so
asking me
glad you came
questions,
on.
making me sound interesting. That's great.
I was low-key nervous to ask you because I was like, oh, if she says no, I'll be so sad. So I was very happy that you were just down to do it. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
totally. I
I'm so
talk about
excited.
this stuff all the time,
I'm
especially
so
with you,
excited.
Jerry Berry. I'm a fan.
I'm so
I follow you
flattered.
on TikTok.
I'm so flattered of that. I love it so much. Thank you. It's gonna make like my whole day now, knowing that you actually watch all my things.
Well, maybe not all of them, but I'd say most of them. I'd say a
Yeah,
good 80%.
at
I may
least
not get all the.
at least the How I Met Mr. Barry saga. Yeah.
Oh, I'm in it. I'm in. I'm invested. I mean, worse than 90 Day Fiance. I'm invested. Like it's just like this terrible season. I'm like, I just have to watch the end. I can only wait for this thing to be over. But not that yours is like that. But I'm invested.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I was sad whenever I recorded the very last episode because I've recorded many of them in big chunks and then I like break them up and like edit them. But yeah, I was sad whenever I recorded the last one. I was like, oh no, is that it? Or there might be more. And then I was like, no, I can't really add any more. So But yeah, I don't know
I
what
mean,
I'll
you
do.
can embellish. You can be like, this is how I met my made up friend
Oh yeah, I could. Maybe I
or
can.
adventures. But what I really like about it is how it is very concise and it's a journey of learning.
Yeah, there's only a
It
few
really
where I don't
is.
have lessons, but I've
And I appreciate that you're very kind to yourself, in your growth. Because when I've looked back in the past at myself, sometimes I've been very critical. I've had to really work through it with laughter yoga. So I see you being kind in your journey, and I admire that. You're like, well, that didn't work out, and I'm going to do this, and oh, I love it. I'm a fan. I just want to see, I'm like, how does this happen?
I t- it took a long time to get there. There was a lot of self-loathing in my previous life or my previous season of Jerri to get to the point where I'm like, this is how it happened and this is the perfect way that it happened, because how else could it happen? And
Right.
so it ended on a super happy note because I have like the best husband ever with the best kids ever. But yeah, I do think that every relationship you have with people is like a lesson, because either they stay forever and you guys grow together, or you don't, but you learn something, right?
Yep, that's the
Same with like,
saying. Friends come in for a reason or a season.
yeah, and it's the
Yeah.
same with jobs. Like you definitely learn from every job you have, whether it's I definitely don't want to do that forever, or I don't want to boss like that forever, or like things like that. But
Yeah,
there's
and what
only
I learned is I'm not going to compromise myself like that forever.
yeah,
Because I thought, like, when I really went back and did some searching, maybe these people are all, terrible people or somewhat terrible people, but, how much do I own in allowing that?
yeah,
How much did I shrink myself so these people perceive me in this way?
yeah,
And that was a big growth for me is that I learned in jobs is like, oh, how much am I selling myself short? I feel that it could be a generational curse. I see a lot of younger women not having those type of issues, and I'm just like, yes, they've broken through, or at least they seem to. But like, I don't know. I'm saying that for anybody who's listening, if that makes sense to you, don't shrink yourself and figure out where your power lies, which is within yourself. Like, this is a big hard
yes.
lesson I'm still learning.
Definitely. I think it's, well, I did hear a thing, I think it was on Queer Eye because I've been binging it a lot, that it's
Mhm.
like self-love isn't a destination. Like it's not just something you do and you're like, I'm done now. And like self-care, it's like, it's just a thing that you do every day, like your job or your eating or your
Mhm.
breathing. That means you have to like love yourself and care for yourself. And some days you don't do a good job, just like some days you go to McDonald's for dinner. Like, it's okay though. Tomorrow's a new
I
day.
love McDonald's.
I
Like
do
I grew,
too.
that was my childhood food, and I don't eat it very often, but it is a comfort food,
Same.
type of situation, and it's a consistency that's
Yep.
always been in our life. So I'm down with that. But
Same.
yeah.
That's what Noemi has taught me. She's like, convenience is okay.
Yeah. But
It
my
it
oh
it
yeah,
got you to
my
the next
mother taught me
day.
that.
Yeah.
Frozen vegetables, put them in. Don't worry about chopping the fresh ones. Use this.
But yeah, and I think whenever like you look back and tell your own story, you learn about yourself. Like I know that I was definitely not a nice person to all those guys in those TikTok videos. Like I was definitely the bad person.
And
But you learn
everybody
that
brings
that's,
what they have to the table, right?
yeah, like I think in one of them I was like, and that's whenever I learned that three guys is not a good idea to date at the same time. Like I realized that I was the bad person, but I learned a good lesson. Three's
I
too
love
many.
that. I love that because it was like they all had this first, same
They
initial.
do. So
And and
since
in
it's
my
a
younger years,
podcast and
yeah.
since it's a podcast and not a TikTok where like millions will see it, their names were literally Ron, Ryan, and Richie. Like literally, like and I don't know how that happened. But if
Oh,
any TikTok followers now watch this video, they'll know the big secret. But yeah, like I wish I could make some of it up. But
no, but
and I'm sure some people
that's
think
just
I do,
real.
but
I did that in my younger life. I had like, I
yeah.
actually like kind of had six on the line. Like, it was like kind of going up, and it was like it was weird because like sometimes I'd wake up and roll over and I'm like, oh, oops. And like I had to be like like conscious of not saying names at certain points in
Yes, that's
time.
what I was like. I literally had made up
Uh,
names in my phone so that,
and
but
that's
then
when
I would
I
get them
yeah
confused because I'm like, who did
right
I name that? I don't know which
and,
one
I,
you are.
and
It'll
it
be a
was just
surprise.
too much. it was too much, and just like just try to be fair and make your life more simple. Like
Yeah,
it's okay. Everybody's got you know. It's good to have lots of friends, but
exactly. So yeah, and I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even like, I barely touched on people that I slept with just for like a one time, like, or a sometimes, and they weren't even like real dating. I only did like the mostly dating people were a little bit
but
consistent. Like it could just go on forever. Because my sister, whenever she saw the first couple episodes, she was like, "Oh my god, is this going to be like 35 episodes long?" Was like, and I was
she
like,
knows it
no,
all. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, no, I'm gonna condense a lot of it. Like and somebody said that I should go into like my pregnancy story, because with my first pregnancy, there's like 4 possibilities of who the sperm may have came from. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, I could go into that. I very much could. Maybe not now, because I've already recorded them all and it's a nice, good series, but I probably could talk about like my first pregnancy journey next. I don't know. We'll see.
Wow.
And I had to make sure
That's
my
like,
husband, I had to
yeah.
make sure my poor husband was okay with it, because I was like, hey, are you okay with me talking about it? He's not a jealous guy at all. But once I realized that like hundreds of people are watching it on TikTok, I was like, I don't know, is it like hurting you to like know that people are watching this and me talking about all the guys I did? And he's like, no, not at all, babe. I don't care.
That's
So he's,
fabulous. He
yeah,
realizes you're with me now. Like that's
yeah,
a very nice, comfortable, strong. That's good, strong.
yeah. It's not airing out our laundry. It's airing out my old laundry. So he's like, I don't care,
Well,
babe.
and you probably got, you got the best of you got the best of the four swimmers. Like, you had like, you get like the strong, like this is like evolution. This is like science and nature. And like, that's cool. You get like the best human, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said,
Yeah.
you have to kiss a lot of frogs, dude. It's true. I don't
Yeah.
remember where I've heard that before. I know that might have been a Queer Eye thing too. Yeah, but
Well,
there's like,
it's the prince. It's like you kiss the frog and turns into the prince, right?
yeah,
That's the fairy tale, and
yeah.
that's the deal. Is like you have to kiss a lot of frogs. There's also the Chinese saying that says "eat a frog first thing in the morning," meaning do your least
Favorite thing
favorite
first.
task,
Okay.
yeah, first, then it's done. So
Yeah, that's
for what it's
true.
worth. But
But
I don't
yeah,
eat frogs.
no, I don't eat frogs
I'm a
either.
fan of
But
Kermit.
I do think
Movie.
I don't judge anybody that chooses a different lifestyle than me at all
Hey,
whatsoever. But in
if you
my
like to eat
personal
frogs,
opinion,
you're down.
in
Yeah.
my personal opinion, I think it's really good to date people. I'm not saying you have to sleep with every person, but I feel like whenever I was not even just sleeping with people, but just dating a lot of people and being very casual about it, you instantly learn what you don't want to put up with forever. And then whenever me and my husband, because my husband wasn't like a saint either, he wasn't a virgin whenever I met him. So
Nice.
whenever we met, we were at a place where we found out that we don't care about a lot of things that maybe other people do because they're younger or they haven't been through the shit yet. But we had places that were like hard stops, right? And so like I had been through whole relationships with like convicts. So I was like, okay, for sure I know I cannot date drug dealers. Like that's that's where I had to draw that line.
But and you don't
Yeah.
wonder because they
But
say
then
you
like,
regret the things that you don't do. And
yeah,
I really agree. Like I think that, you should meet lots of people and have lots of good experiences with people. It doesn't have to be sexual or
yeah,
however, but you learn a lot about yourself, about what you can put up with, what you like, what makes you happy, what pisses you off and you can't tolerate. You
yeah,
learn all of that through social experiences. And
for
so
sure.
going out and doing things like, hey, a great go laughter yoga class sometime, it'd be a great date, right? Like, go bring lots of people,
Yeah,
bring a group. I was always a big fan of the group dates in junior high when you
yeah.
go out in a big group, like, hey, it's the pressure's off.
Even
I
as
felt bad for
adults,
people.
even as
Yeah.
adults, I love going on like double or triple dates, or if you all get together with the kids, because
Oh,
then the kids can all converse and the adults can all converse. And it's
yeah.
way
And
cooler
you're
than just you and your husband going, or you and your partner.
I find I behave better too. Because like, I have comforts and however with my husband. So like I'll like, you know, we have our things and maybe I won't be, but if I have other people, I'll behave better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
he really appreciates it because I'm not jamming on him, you know.
Yeah, and then like you get a little more dressed up and spruced up, like you might actually shower before you go out with the group instead of like going on a solo date with your partner and you're like, I don't need to shower, they see me every day. So yeah, I think I think group works all around. But yeah, okay,
Okay.
I for real am gonna end the recording for the poor listeners, but we don't have to hang up right away.
All right. Thank you for your patience if you're on this podcast at this point.
Yes, thank you so much. But thank you for coming on. I usually ask a bunch of random questions at the end, but I feel like we don't have to because this one was so much fun.
All right. I'm down. I'm down for part two. I mean, if you have all these different parts, we could always, you know.
Oh yeah,
do
there's
this
a lot of
sometime.
there's a lot of people on my list for part twos. I just try to give them space. But yes, I
Yeah.
do have a lot of people that I'm like, I know that I need to talk to you more.
Well, I'll see you in 3 years or whatever. That's cool.
All right. Thank you so much, Claire. I'm gonna end the recording, but I'm not gonna hang up. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.